Hello everybody! Welcome back. We're going to do some more live coding tonight, and tonight we're going to check out Flutter. If you were here last night, we looked at the Dart programming language, and the Dart programming language is what Flutter is built with, and so Flutter is supposed to allow you to create cross-platform native mobile applications. So let's see, I haven't ever used this, so this is going to be a process of taking what we learned last night in Dart and making a simple mobile app with Flutter. And the agenda is basically just going to be how to install it, how to do a hello world, callbacks with buttons, maybe how to grab GPS coordinates, and how to package for Android. So that's going to be our basic goal, is to get started with it. So, okay, get started. Let's see. Here we are on the documentation on the page. It's flutter.dev. That's the website, flutter.dev. So install, I'm going to go with Linux. Okay, system requirements, get the Flutter SDK, run Flutter Doctor, update path, and then make sure we have Android set up. So, okay, we've got bash, curl, git, make, dir, remove, unzip, xutil, should have all of that. libglu, I should have that too. Get the Flutter SDK. Okay, so let's download that. We'll just save that to our downloads. Okay, so now we have Flutter Linux, so we say tar extract the zip file Flutter. Oh, I always forget what the xzip one is. Is it capital J? XJF. I think that's it. J is the symbol for the xzip files. So I think it's extracting right now. We'll give it a minute. Extract the file in desired location. Oh. It'll automatically determine? Okay. Okay, so now we have the Flutter, and we've got a Flutter bin directory with Flutter and Flutter bat. Oh, I guess we're here, so let's run it. Nice, look at this. Flutter, run Flutter, help, welcome to Flutter. The Flutter tool, anonymously, no. Flutter config. No analytics. Alright, not sure where it stores the config, but I don't really care. Okay, and I need to update my path here. So let me move Flutter into my home directory and then edit my path here. So let's see, I'm going to go up here and delete to the end of the line and say Flutter bin. Okay. Now if I restart my shell, I should have Flutter available to me wherever I go. Oh, I know, it's doing the automatic CD thing there. What I'm going to do is say move Flutter to Flutter SDK, dash SDK, and then up here, oops, Flutter SDK. Okay, that's better. So Flutter tool, let's see what that does. Let me make this bigger. Flutter create common commands, manage your Flutter app development, common commands, Flutter create, Flutter run. Okay. What else does it have? Analyze, attach, okay, build, devices, emulators, list, launch, and create emulators. Interesting. Flutter emulators. Oh, it does find it. Nice, it actually hooks into my Android SDK and everything. That's nice. And if I say Flutter devices, it shouldn't find anything yet. Yeah, so let me open a new window and launch my virtual device. So now I have an Android device to run on that we're going to play with. Optionally pre-download development binaries. Run Flutter Doctor. Run the following command to see if there are any dependencies you need to complete the setup. Flutter Doctor. Okay, it's checking for updates. Checking my Android licenses. Let's keep going. Update your path. Alright, I already did that. Android setup. And I already have my Android stuff set up, so I think we're good. Doctor found 5 issues. Android toolchain. Some Android licenses not accepted. To fix that, run Flutter Doctor Android licenses. Before I do that, I want to see what else was there. Flutter plugin not installed. Oh, for Android Studio. Okay. Dart plugin not installed. Okay, so I can update Android Studio and do it all from there. Android Studio would be a perfect editor. Obviously, since it's the best one for Android. And Android Studio is built on top of the IntelliJ platform. So if it's down to Android Studio versus IntelliJ, I choose Android Studio because it is better IntelliJ. And IntelliJ, which is JetBrains software, is actually open source. You can actually go to GitHub, download the community edition, and build the whole thing from source. And VS Code, okay. So that's fine. Let's do the Android licenses one. And here, let me configure plugins. And let me look for the Dart plugin. Angular Dart? No, Dart language, that's what I want. And Flutter. Okay. We read the licenses thoroughly before we press Y, of course. Okay, so now we've got Flutter and Dart plugins installed. Going to restart Android Studio. Oh. I'll make this bigger. Okay, Android Studio. Okay, oh, boom, look at that. Start a new Flutter project. Flutter application. Flutter plugin. Select plugin when exposing an Android or iOS API. Okay, so this is how we can connect native modules. Flutter package is just a library. Flutter module component. Okay. We want the whole application. We're going to call it my Flutter app. Flutter SDK path. Let's go ahead and tell it. It is in my home directory under Flutter SDK. Okay, project location, we'll say, I think it's going to create this directory underneath this one, so we'll just go ahead and say that. And nothing special. We'll just say this. Generate sample content. Oh, looks like, let's see where they have. App bar actions, card, deletable, chip attributes, drop down button, icon button, listener, raised button. Let's go with raised button. Let's just try that one. And we're gonna use Dart, so I don't want any Kotlin or Swift support. Let's just go with straight Dart and Flutter. Tip of the day is the escape key in any tool window moves the focus to the editor. Good to know. Shift Escape moves the focus to the editor and also hides the current tool window. The F12 key moves the focus from the editor to the last focus tool window. Okay, cool. So if we're over here in the files and we hit escape, it should jump us back to the editor. Nice, and F12 will jump us back. Shift Escape will close it and get us back. F12 will pop it back open too. Awesome. Good keys. Good shortcuts. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with the README. Please add Markdown plugin. Okay, go ahead. My Flutter app. Getting started this project is a starting point. A few resources, like this link to a lab. Okay, let's pop open that one. Check it out in a minute. And Cookbook, useful Flutter samples. Okay, we'll pop that one open too, and check it out in just a minute. For help getting started with Flutter, view our online documentation, flutter.io/docs, which redirects to flutter.dev/docs now. Okay. And the pub spec file is something we learned last night with Dart. So pub is the tool for building, running, packaging, and doing all that stuff. It's like the NPM or the pip of Dart programs. So this metadata is just giving us a version, what dependency of Dart, dependencies Flutter SDK, Cupertino icons, those are the iOS icons, dev dependencies. Flutter uses material design true. Okay, let's, now we could say packages get here and just click it, but I'm going to do it on the command line, so we can also say pub get. That's how you do it from the command line. And here it says, could not find package called Cupertino icons. I think I might have. I think I typed in an S there when I shouldn't have. No? Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I did. I put the S from the beginning to the end, that's what I did. Okay. Because my Flutter app depends on Flutter test any from SDK, which doesn't exist, versioning solved failed. Flutter users should run Flutter packages get instead of pub get. I see. Oops, Flutter packages get. Okay, done. Now, hopefully it will say that it got the dependencies. Maybe not. Okay, well, I'll try it here. Let's try packages get and see what it runs. Okay, it runs Flutter packages get. It did the same thing. Flutter upgrade? Flutter upgrade, that's actually the command. Flutter upgrade. Okay, no problem. Android Studio toolchain check. We got a solid check there. Android Studio check. Okay, and a connected device. We are good to go. So, packages get, packages upgrade, Flutter. Well, I guess these are just going to stick around. Usually they go away after you get the dependencies. Okay, anyway, let's see what else is there. The IML is that's an IDE thing. Packages. Okay, so basically what's left is the live. And the live is where our Dart file is. That's our main Dart file. We'll come back to that. iOS, we shouldn't have to touch anything in there. That's just all the project files for building in iOS. And same thing with the Android one up here. We shouldn't have to touch anything in those two. I think the Dart toolchain and the Flutter toolchain is going to manage all that. So we should be able to explore just inside this main.dart file. And so, okay, here's the main. The main function calls run app my app. My app is this class here. My app is in stateless widget, which is the root widget of our application. And it looks like it only implements one function, which overrides from the stateless widget. And that's the build. and we basically tell it what to build. And the widget that it returns is a material app widget. Now, material app widget must come from this import here, the package Flutter material dart. And to confirm, we can hold Control and mouse over it, and we can see the information about it. If we click on it, it'll actually jump us into the file where it's defined. And we can see this is actually coming from app.dart. We can click the little icon here to find the file. And now it shows us that it's underneath this external library packages. If we do it again, it's under external libraries, Dart packages, Flutter, source, material, and then it was app.dart. So that's where this material app thing is coming from. So we create that, we give it a title, a theme, and a home widget. Okay, so there's an app widget, which is the root, and then we give it a some kind of stateless widget, and that's our main widget. So this is the only other class here. Our stateless widget, which extends from the same class, stateless widget. Okay, I guess this is the constructor. And then the build, it overrides one function called build. So in that sense, I guess it's kind of like React, where your component basically has one method, and that's render. One thing that you have to fill out at least. And so in this case, it's returning a scaffold with a center and a column. So it looks like they actually have classes for the layouts, and you just embed the layouts like this. This should look familiar if you have done Kivy with Python, if you were there that day. We did that. Or it's kind of like doing the React Native or the Angular native script, except instead of using HTML elements, you're using classes. So you just embed center, and then in a column, and then you give it to children, and then you just keep nesting things as you need them. So that's okay, that's pretty straightforward. Let's try and run it. So here it's configured for Android SDK built for x86, which is fine because our emulator here is running x86 Android, and it's already configured for the main Dart because Android Studio took care of all that for us. So let's go ahead and run it in... Let's just go ahead and run. Now I'm imagining it will automatically launch the application in our device here. We'll find out in a minute. It's building right now. The first build might take a minute because it's got to build everything and check all the dependencies. So while that's building, let's go back and check out a couple of these links that we got. So yeah, we had the get started, test drive, try hot reloading, write your first app. Oh, did it launch? Syncing files to... Oh, here it is. Here's our app in all its glory. There's a disabled button that I can't click. There's an enabled button that it looks like I can click. And a gradient button. That one shows a drop shadow when I click it. Like I lift, almost as if I lift it up when I click it. Okay, and these are native buttons. These aren't HTML rendered buttons or anything. So let's skim through this one. Create your first starter app. Material app. Okay, so it already did all this for us. Use an external package. And we already looked at how to do that yesterday. Write your first app. Add a stateful widget. Add a stateful. Yeah, I do want to create a new widget. So actually, why don't we try that? We'll say my stateless widget column. And then, okay, so the children, if I want to add something to this column, I want to add a child to this. And it looks like we've got a list of widgets here. So let me add another widget here. We're going to call it my cool widget. How about we call it that? Okay, now it's going to say that doesn't exist. We can do Alt-Enter, and we can say create class my cool widget. It's going to say down here, okay, class my cool widget, and then we can say extends stateless widget, right? Okay, and then we have to implement one function, and it looks like they do have an override decorator, and then you have to create a function called build. Hold on, I bet it'll tell me what I need to do. Isn't a valid override, so we do Alt-Enter. No, that didn't help us. Okay. Now, if I don't do anything, it should tell me also I'm missing an override. Missing concrete implementation of build, so I do Alt-Enter. Here we go. Create one missing override. That's going to generate the signature exactly as I need it. So it's going to return a widget and take context. And then we return whatever we're going to return, which I guess... what are we going to return? Well, in this case, why don't we return a text widget? How about we return a raised button? We'll return a raised button that says... okay, it's going to have some children inside the button. We want a text inside of it, so children is going to be a container. And inside of that... oh, I like how this automatically add... oh, it's not actually adding code, that's a debug line. I think. That's interesting. I like the way it tells you what the closing element is here. I do that in HTML usually. So child here, we'll just say text, my cool button. Now is that... oh, I think I need to do child inside the container as well. So there, we just created a custom widget that has a button, and we added it here to the top of our list. So let's run the app again. Or we don't even have to rerun it, it already hot loads it when we just press save. So, okay, it's a disabled button by default. So we have to enable it. So what's the difference? Oh, it's because there is no onPressed method. So that's interesting. To disable a button, you basically just don't provide an onPressed method. But if we do, why don't we say print button was pressed? Semicolon. There we go. So now we have a callback when the button is pressed that should print out to the terminal, which I think we should see here in this console. So now our button is enabled, and when we click it, we can see down here in the bottom left it says button was pressed. Awesome, so we just hooked up a button with the callback. So how would we update a different one? Like, let's say we want to update the text on the button when the button is pressed. So let's see if they have... wait, does this say add a stateful widget? Okay, so we were looking at stateless widgets. A stateless widget is immutable, meaning their properties can't change. A stateful widget means it actually has some properties. Okay, so... Interesting. Notice the declaration. State random words. This indicates that we're using the generic state class, specialized for use with random words. I'm wondering where did random words? Is that something that they created earlier in the tutorial up here? Oh, here, they create it right here. Class random words extends stateful widget. Create state, new random words state. That's an interesting way they do it. Add the build method to random words state. It's weird that you extend... Okay, so you extend the state and then you give it the widget that you're adding state for. And then inside of this widget you have to have a reference back to it here. That's a little weird. Remove the word generation code. Oh, this, yes. Okay, so they created... So basically, we've got a stateless widget here, but if we wanted to create a stateful widget, where do we put that state again? So you put it in the... Oh, so there's a function called create state that you override. Got it. So why don't we say it's a stateful widget instead? Yeah, and now it's saying, hey, you're missing another function you need for a stateful widget, which is create state. And in this case, we could just say this dot secret state equals 42. Can we just do that? Create field? Yeah. So I guess that should work. I don't think you... Well, I guess there's actually probably a lot of special properties about that. So creates... Yeah, so instead of doing that, what we're going to do is return the cool widget state, or a new one rather, a new cool widget state. And we'll go ahead and create that class, and that's going to extend the state class, but the state for a myCoolWidget, like that. And then this is going to say we're missing one function that we need, which is build. And so in this case, the state is actually returning a text object. This is my stateful text object. We'll have to figure out exactly what's going on here. Okay, so now we have a stateful widget that, instead of just having the build function, also has this create state, which is going to so wait, hold on. Our stateful widget override create state should return the cool widget state. Okay. So does this still run? myCoolWidget is not a subset of type stateless widget. Okay, so I guess I cannot put my stateless widget... I can't put my stateful widget inside of the stateless widget. Is that what the problem is? So this should at least reload, hopefully. Okay, let's stop it and reload it, just to kind of clean up the state. So how do you update the state? I mean, in this one it's just returning random words, so it's not really... I mean, it's not really helping you with the state if you're not changing it or something. Okay. Let's check it out. Oh, where's the button? Oh, we took it out, that's why. So, what if instead of the stateless widget being the home, what if we put in our stateful widget as the home? I don't know if this is going to work because I'm imagining it needs a scaffold or a container or something. No? I guess not. I guess you can just put a text object on the whole screen and it'll just make the text object as big as the whole screen. So that's okay. It's interesting that it's all big and red like that though. Okay, so... can we do something like this? What if we just say, okay, the home's actually going to be a container with our cool widget first, followed by this stateless widget that they gave us originally with all the buttons. No, what's this? Oh, I have to say children. And in this case, can I do like that then? The container has the children of the column. Too many arguments here. Expected 0, but 2 found? Hold on, let me copy what's going on over here. So they're using a column. Oh, children. That's what I have to do again. So children is going to be a list of widgets like that. Okay, so now let's see if that works. Not really. No. It doesn't like... they're too... I guess it's probably too big. The second object... what if I put it afterwards like that? Well, I was just messing around here, so let me comment that out and go back to this one and see, can I get this one back in? So where are we? Here's the children. We just add in another one. Oh, yeah, that worked. I don't know why. Okay, so you can have a stateful widget inside the stateless widget. I just messed it up or something before. Okay, so we've got a button with the callback, so can we do... so this is the one that actually has the state. So can we say like this dot state set state? How do you actually manipulate the state? Create state. Is it constantly just creating new states. Flutter modify state. Set state method. Set state. Oh, maybe it's not. Is it self? No, it is this, right? Yeah, it's this. So is it this one where you change the state? Yeah, so okay, so set state goes in here. Set state, implement set state. This is interesting, so I'm not sure what's going on here. New state? Am I supposed to return just like a totally new build? Oh, it shouldn't return anything. So, what if we said this dot message? So why don't we say message equals updated status? I want to see basically if you just update the state, and it looks like you're supposed to pass in a function. I'm just kind of hacking away on this. So let's see, can we update the state by when the button is pressed calling? Well, let's see, if I try set state, will it give me any helpers? No. Let me see if I can find an example. Create. The simplest solution would be to use a global key. Alternatively, you can use controller pattern that Flutter uses itself. Key.currentState.reset. Interesting. So you have to use some kind of global state. So if we want to update, like if we want to update that message, we'd have to put it into a global key. Let's go back. Let's go back to their tutorial. Add a stateful widget. So yeah, we added a widget and we've got the state, but the state pretty much stays static after it gets created. So it's interesting. They show you how to make a stateful widget, but it's like they cop out and they just set the state when it gets created and then they leave it and they never touch it again. Oh wait, here we go. Maybe this one. In this step you'll expand random word states. Okay, looks like it's gonna change here. Build row. I'm trying to just see how they hook up. How do they actually hook up the state change? Do they have any call to set state? Set state. Nowhere to be found on this page. So, okay. So here's the state. Now, where do they change the state? It's interesting, you don't... There's gotta be some magic going on here because... They're not actually, changing the state anymore. Okay, learn more. Flutter samples. Let's just kind of look around at some of these pages. Lists, basic list. List view, children. List of widgets, list tile. Yeah, so let's see. State. Okay, so this list. Oh, my app is a stateless widget. Material app, scaffold, body, list view, list tile, list tile, list tile. Okay. How about interactivity? Yeah, we want like a button click. Here we go. Stateful and stateless widgets. A widget is either stateful or stateless. If a widget can change, it's stateful. Creating a stateful widget. Yeah, we kind of looked at this already. Subclass the stateful widget. We did that. We override the create state function. Then we create the state class itself. Okay, yeah, we did something like that where we have the message variable, and then you define the build function. Calling set. Okay, here we go. Calling set state is critical because it tells this framework that the widget state has changed. So set state, is that going in the stateless widget or in the state class though? They're not. The toggle favorite method, okay, was that on... I'm guessing that's... Okay. How did they... Let me look at their file. Something's not computing here. When they create the state class and the widget class, okay, here's toggle favorites that goes inside the state class. Okay, so then you have to call toggle favorites from the other class. So how do you... Oh. I'm trying to do it between widgets when I should be doing it within the same widget. That's my problem. So why don't I try this? I'll say stateful widget. I'll change this whole thing to a stateful widget. And I'm going to copy over my create state here. And then we should still have an on press up here. Yeah, here we go. Now we'll say activate callback. And okay, so now on this one we want to add a function called something like update message with a message and say this dot message equals, we'll make it a private. So make it a private by doing the underscore. And I guess we don't need this when referring to it. Message equals message, like that. Or rather, they said you have to call set state when you do it. So set state. Hold on, I'm gonna copy this over. So update message. I don't want the if statement. We're just gonna say. Okay, that's all there is to it. So this is just gonna say message equals message. And this is going. Oh, what's it called up here? My stateless widget. We'll go ahead and rename it to my stateful widget. And down here we'll say my stateful widget. So actually, I don't think we need to override this set state at all. Okay, so now on this one we will call update message. Hold on, my stateful widget. No. I'm missing one thing here. And that's where is it getting called? OnPressed. Oh, that's right. We have to put. Now wait a second. This is confusing because inside the state widget is where it's actually creating the button. This is a little weird, I must admit. So you would imagine that if you had a widget, if you had a class that was just for storing state, it wouldn't be building buttons. You would think that the widget, the actual stateful widget that you built, had the button, and that the state just held the state. So in this case, it's actually the state object that's in charge of generating buttons for the widget. That's why it's weird. So it's actually like this is what we want to do. Updated status. Okay. Okay, so Oops, looks like everything's broken. Let's restart it now that we've made a whole bunch of changes. So let's kind of review it, make sure. Sanity check. So we're not actually using this widget anywhere. We've got the state, but it's like I don't like it. I don't like the way that's designed. Insufficient storage. Oh, did my phone run out of space? Settings. Let's see, how do I check the disk space? Okay, hold on, let me close it. And then manage my virtual devices. I think it's this one, AVD Manager. Okay, I've got a TV, a phone, and a watch. Let me edit this one. View details. Oops. I wanted to change the size. Edit, there we go. Show advanced settings. Okay, yeah, it's only got 800 megabytes internal. Let's give it 1600. And try running it again. Uh-oh. That worked better, didn't it? Maybe I changed the wrong setting. I changed internal storage, the amount of non-removable space. Yeah, that was it. Maybe I need to give it some more RAM too. And we'll give it some more space. Uh-oh. Modifying the SD card will erase it? Oh, that's okay. I need to make it bigger anyway. Alright, this one might take a little bit longer to boot up the first time. Oh no, that was my SD card. I didn't have any data on the SD card. So, what's going on with the button here? Here it is, stateful widget. So where do they put it? So favorite widget extends stateful widget. I see. So they actually put the state class inside of the other class. That's interesting. So maybe that's kind of my big problem, is that this what's the problem here? Classes can't be declared inside other classes. Oh, I guess that just means it's private to the package is all it meant. I was mistaken there. I guess the disconnect that I'm not understanding here is where do you actually put... I mean, you don't put the state widget in there. But it's the one returning the button. Oh, so do you have to do something like... state... Okay. This dot... No, I'm so confused. You wouldn't do something like... You would do something like that. I mean, technically, I guess that's returning a widget, but that just seems so wrong. So, they're not... I don't like the way this is designed. I really don't. Maybe it'll click in a little bit and I'll understand why and what's going on, but are these errors or did it actually work? Yeah. Okay, so we have our stateful widget that has the state, but I don't get why they both have build functions. And why the state class needs to care about building things. And so we've got the stateless widget, and then they put the stateful widget inside of it. Okay, that's all good. So they create that. Okay. Oh, and it doesn't even have a build. It doesn't have a build at all. Okay. So I'm gonna try something again. This is going back to the stateless widget. It's got the build, and inside of the children we're gonna add a class. We'll call it a cool widget. Extends stateful widget. And that's going to need the build, so we'll say Alt-Enter, create the missing override. And that's create state, which is going to return... Oh no, yeah, we can copy it from here because it doesn't need to go there anymore. Okay, and that's it. There's no build. So this one is getting its build from the state. And then we can put the stateful widget here and just say like, hey, add our cool widget. Oh, and this can actually go back here to stateless. I think I've cracked the code. I think I finally figured it out. And it's the fact that they don't both have builds, so the build actually comes from the state that it uses to create state. So now, yeah, there it is, it's working. Sort of. So maybe I'll put my widget at the end. Oh, I think I need to go one more out. Okay, so Why is it not showing? Look, okay, if I hide my widget completely. What happened to all the other buttons? Is there some errors? There are. Cannot hit test a render box that has never been laid out. So we've got a button. So even I'm not sure what it's complaining about here. Even if we comment out all of this stuff, the original ones should work. Let's see, did I mess something up there? I don't understand. Let me try just restarting it here. Context mismatch. Yeah, maybe I was moving things around too much. It kind of messed up the state. Okay, our buttons are back good. So yeah, just something weird happened there. So now what happens if we... Oh, it isn't defined because I commented them out, so let me bring them back. Exception was thrown. Render flex overflowed. So all I'm returning is a raised button. So what happens if I just return a raised button like that? No problem. It makes another one just fine. So why does it have a problem when trying to add my... Oh, there's no message. Default message. I think that's the problem. There's no... Let's see, how do I... Close? Start. This should... I think this will work a little better. It was trying to render, but there was no message, and so it was a null string, and it was just, yeah, there we go. Now, awesome. I don't know if you saw that, but it had a default message, and then when we clicked it, it updated the status. Perfect, so this is starting to make more sense. We'll say NA is going to be like the default, and then the message updated there, and then, like, why don't we'll increment it. How about that? So why don't we say, why don't we rename message to count, and we'll start it at 0, count plus plus, can you do that? And then this is going to have to be, ooh, let's see, how do we cast to a string in Dart? Oh wait, was there a toString? I think I saw a toString function. Dot toString. Perfect. And then, okay, so every time we click here, we've got our cool widget where the build comes from the state class. And now when we click it, it updates. Awesome. Awesome. Got it. Very cool. So let me try going back to this now, where we've got stateless widget and the cool widget. No, that kind of broke things. Overflow was infinity. Let's try restarting it. It seems like there's a few cases where if you rearrange, if you mess with the layout too much, then it screws with the hot reloading. and it kind of panics. But if you restart the whole application, then it kind of builds fine. No, we got the same thing again. Bottom overflowed by infinity pixels. So yeah, you probably need to wrap everything with the proper... A container is probably not the right one then. So a scaffold with a body. We'll try that. So they use the scaffold. No, that didn't work either. So there's different types probably. Like, I don't know if a body can go in it just fine. So center also has one child, which is, we'll make that one. The container. And the children is going to be these. Oh, where'd the container go? I guess a column has multiple children. Okay, now is that acceptable? No, there's something it doesn't like. Maybe it's because I got two of them? Okay, so what happens if I take out the cool widget? Okay, I think it might be because... Okay, yeah. Well, I think the problem here is that I've got a scaffold and a center, which are like top-level screen-wide things, and then I'm trying to embed another scaffold and center inside of it, and so it's trying to treat it as like an infinitely scrolling thing within another infinitely scrolling thing. So I think that's why it's screwing it up. Like, I think you probably only want one scaffold at the top, because now it's working, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's up at the top, and you can see it. Button's still working. Okay, cool. So that's how you update things. That's how you maintain state. That's how you nest widgets. That's how you build layouts. So let's see, how about... Yeah, how do we access native? Flutter access native API. Let's see, Flutter for Android. Intents. How do I just build for it? Well, we're in Android Studio, so I suppose I just need to say build. Let's see, stop. Maybe I can't build while it's running. Maybe it's because I don't have... Whoa! Oh, I clicked, I think I accidentally clicked PyCharm. Okay, build. Now I can't... Why can't I build the APK? I guess I'm gonna have to use Flutter's packaging tools. So intents, layouts, building. Flutter build Android APK. Here we go. Build and release for Android. Review the app manifest. Located in Android app source main. Okay, so it looks like you might have to actually modify... What's it? App source main. Yeah, the manifest. So you might have to tweak permissions or the package name or the icons or something like that. So review it, make sure everything looks good and the permissions are okay. Review the build configuration. I'm going to assume that everything out of the box is okay. Adding a launcher icon, skip that. Skip signing it so we can skip the key store. Hopefully I can skip that and it's all fine. building a release. Okay, Flutter build APK. Boom, that's it. Flutter build APK. Flutter build APK. Sincred says, don't use Linux, it sucks. Yeah, would you like to elaborate? Go ahead and elaborate on that. I have a feeling someone's just trying to troll. Because surely nobody would say such an ignorant statement like that. And mean it. Okay, well, is that done? It's done. Build apps out. Okay, hold on, let's check this out. Wait. I don't see current working directory. I don't see the build directory. Built blank APK. Do I just is it not refreshing? Let's try this. Open show in files. Yeah, there it is. It's like, oh, I bet it's in project view. That's why if I go to files view, I should what? That's so weird. It's not refreshing properly. Okay, so build app outputs APK app.apk. There it is. 5 megabytes. Okay, let's check this out. So we should be able to. Now, if we go here and we look at our apps, we can see there's no whatever the app is called. And we drag and drop it, it installs the APK. Oh, could not parse. Okay. App release APK? Okay, hold on, let's try that one. Installing APK. Could not parse error strings. So this happened last time I did some of these tools that compile across. I have a feeling it's because of the signing. Now, if I can pull up the log, I bet it's related to the signing. Oh no, you know what I bet it might be? Is that it built the ARM version. It built the ARM version, which is why it's not loading on my x86 emulator. So I wonder if you can build it for x86 or 64. Flutter build APK x86. Currently not supported. Interesting. So you can build it and run it for x86 for development, but not for release? Hold on. Maybe there is a flag. So what was it? Flutter build APK. Flutter help build. Available subcommands. Flutter help build APK. There we go. So there's target, debug, profile, release, build number. Oh, here we go. Target platforms. Android. I'm gonna go with Android x86. Okay, Flutter build APK -- target platform Android x86. There we go. I have a feeling this will work better. What? Do I need to add a target? Flutter help. I might need to do something like Flutter add target. I don't know, they said it wasn't supported, but that might have been an old article. Let's see what they say here. To do support x86 x yeah. When was this? Okay, well that's from... Let's do a search and see if that's still there. Wait, it looks like it hasn't landed yet. Maybe it has here. 86? No, nothing 86 related there. 64? No. No, looks like... Syncred. Okay, so Syncred says Linux sucks because you can't play most of the games. Well, I'd agree with you there. It's not a good gaming platform. Although with Steam, you can play a heck of a lot of games now on Linux. Well, Syncred, I would agree with you that Linux is not as good as Windows as a desktop when it comes to the amount of software it can run. That, like, popular software. But there's also a lot of stuff that you can run on Linux that you can't run on Windows. And there's probably more stuff that you can't run on Windows than you can't run on Linux. But that doesn't make it better or worse overall. Just because you can't play your games on it doesn't mean Linux sucks. It just means it's not good for gaming. And if all you want to do is game, you're right. And it's only good for web development, is just wrong. Sorry. Linux is good for all kinds of development. And servers. I'd much rather have a Linux server than a Windows server. So, Flutter, get GPS. I want to figure out how to actually access something native like the GPS. So, yeah, it's too bad that it doesn't support... It even says right here. Why don't we try x64? I don't expect that one to work any better. Yeah. Okay, well that's why it's not working, but it did build the APK. I should plug it into my phone. In fact, I'm gonna do that. Where's my phone? Alright, phone. Let's see. Let's connect my phone. Okay. Phone attached. Now, I wanted to take my APK. Now, what was this? Flutter test. Now, why don't we copy that over to our phone here? Alright, now I'm going to install it on my phone and make sure that it actually does install and work. Okay, so it's saying, do you want to install this application? It does not require any special access, and it's got a Flutter icon. I'm going to say install. Okay, app installed, check, open, and it's working. Okay, so it totally did work, unsigned, generating the ARM, Now here, let me try and do this. From within Android Studio, I should be able to go to Logcat. Configure Android SDK. Okay. Okay, I specify the Android NDK. Now why do you not work? Normally, let's see, what you can do is take a screenshot of a device that's attached. So I was going to take a screenshot of my phone just to prove that it's actually working, but it looks exactly like it did in the emulator. And it works. So I just wanted to verify that we can generate an APK, copy it over to the phone, and get it to run. So we actually made a successful Android app. I'd call that a success so far. Now, yeah, I am interested in how I would grab the GPS. So here's a plugin for Flutter. So it looks like, I wonder if all of the native APIs are separate plugins like that. Here we go. Add an Android-specific implementation using Java. Okay, so main activity Java, this is like an example page. You make a wrapper. Interesting. So how would I use this? Let's just take a look. As of version 2, you have to call the returned location. Update your Gradle properties with this. Okay, you'd have to say Android enable Jetifier, Android use Android X, and change the Gradle memory limit. Please also make sure you have these dependencies in your Gradle build. Okay, so you need Google services and Gradle. That one's probably there already. I guess those are just minimum versions. It's letting me know. Getting started Android. Okay, you have to add the permission. So it looks like you have to manage the permissions and stuff yourself. Like you have to go into the Android one. Oh, NullPixel is asking me how I switched. You do Control Shift up and down, and that works in a lot of editors. And so, yeah, you can take a couple lines and you can move them up and down. So I do that a lot for shifting around priorities. Actually, I think I even have... I mentioned this in one of my tutorials somewhere. Priorities? Yeah. It wasn't that one. Anyway. Yeah. It's handy, and you can do things like that in JetBrains and Android Studio and stuff, so watch. Like, let's say we have this, you can move it up and down, and in JetBrains, it's smart enough to know, like, oh, there's a whole block of code that I should move over. And you can even do things like, yeah, when you move it up and down, sometimes it will go inside and outside of blocks intelligently. Control Shift up and down. Okay, access location, sample code. Current oh! Wow, that's actually very simple. Let's try it out. Okay, so I need to update my Gradle properties. Okay, so we've already got that. I don't really know why it needs those, but I'll go ahead and trust it. And then the dependencies in your build Gradle. the dependencies. Here we go. So yeah, we'll go ahead and say Gradle33, that's fine. And it's probably going to say we don't have it. Oh, there's an even newer one? Yeah, we'll go with even that one, fine. Compiled SDK version 28. Alright, and then we need to add one permission as well. And that's going to go in the Android manifest, so that's source main Android manifest. And I think permissions go here, like that. No. That. Okay. So let's just see if that still builds. That should still build with these changes. No, it looks like something broke, so yeah, let's check this out real quick. What went wrong? Compile SDK 28. Where do you put... I think I put it in the wrong spot. They put it even with the dependencies. Wait, where did I put it? I think I already closed it. Gradle properties, build Gradle. Okay, that goes in the build script there, I think. No, cannot find compile SDK version for argument 28. Is it because I have the wrong versions, or I don't have the right SDK manager? Let's see, 28. 28 is installed. Android manifest, compile SDK version. I just need to find a quick example. Android. Interesting. Well, let's just see what happens without it. We'll see what version it picks by default. That might be in... Let's see, where might that be defined? Manifest? No, I don't see a version in there either. It's building okay, though. Okay, so what else? After we got all that set up, then all we need to do is drop in this little piece of code. And why don't we try that? We'll go to the main.dart and why not? We'll do it here when you click. Why not? We'll try that. Okay, so we're actually going to need to import. Oh, so we're actually going to have to add this package as well to... They forgot that part. Yeah, so in our pub spec, this is where we're going to have to say pub spec add location. I want to make sure I get this in the right spot. Maybe this one has an example. Dependencies. Yeah, okay. So this is going to be, what is it called? Location. Location 232. Now is that it? It's just called location. Let's try it. Packages get. We'll see if it errors out. No, it looks like it was okay. And now if we check here, packages for location. Okay, definitely found it. Location 232 live. Awesome. Okay, so where's that code here? What else is it complaining about? Can't be assigned a variable of type. Add a cast. What about this one? Platform exception isn't a type that can be used. Platform exception isn't a type that can be used. To use it, import services. Okay. Okay, yeah, now it can find it. Okay, and then we actually have to do something with the current location, right? In this case, we'll say print current location. We're just going to try it out in the console. So this should say every time we click the button, get the location and print it out. So it's basically just going to be confirmation on the process for accessing a native API. This is the last thing I'm going to do for the night, probably. It's going to build. Oh, and it crashed. Why did it crash? Fatal exception. Required metadata in your app's manifest file did not exist. You must have this in your application element. Google Play Services. Alright, let's fix that. Inside our action, it wanted another meta. What is our value? It told us over here. 420. I don't know if that's gonna work. We'll see if that works. So, my overall impressions. Do I like it? Would I use it? Meh. I'm not. It doesn't really seem to be making things really like that much better. I'm not seeing a big benefit over like React Native or NativeScript. I do see benefit over something like Cordova, where Cordova is actually running in a web view. This is actually running native. It's running native more like React Native or NativeScript. But I'm not seeing a whole bunch of benefit over using React Native or NativeScript. Except for the language, like unless you really like Dart and stuff. Yeah, so No Pixel saying the same thing, it looks like he says. Well, after watching this and reading some of the documentation, I definitely prefer React Native. There's definitely some things that are simpler in Flutter, but React Native just makes sense to me. I feel the same way. I liked React Native. I think it felt very easy to pick up. And this, I'm not seeing the benefit. I'm not seeing the value that it offers me. It is kind of nice how you can pretty easily compose the layouts, but I actually like the way that the native script and the React Native layouts look better because it's a little more like HTML and like it's less just like a long blob. Like I'd rather just see something like you know, you had a scaffold, and then inside of that, let's see how to make a multi-line one. There we go. So yeah, if you had something like a scaffold, and then a center, and then a column, and then a button, like, I do like that better. I'd rather look at that and then go, you know, dig into that widget, figure out how that widget works, instead of like trying to mix it all together here in the code. Like, I do see that it's better because you don't have a separate style sheet. You don't have a separate, it's all kind of mixed in, so it's all together in the code. It's all in the one code file. But it's not enough to make me go, yeah, you know what, I would switch over to this. And the fact that you have to manage, you kind of have to go in and manage the build stuff, and it seems like it's got a bit of maturing to do. I can see it getting better, but it's just okay. It's just okay. I wanted to give it a shot and see. People were calling it the React Native killer, and maybe one day, but not yet. Native script actually looks the most attractive to me. So, otherwise I would just use native, like actual Android native stuff. I really don't care about iOS. And if you're not going to really care about iOS, then whatever. Alright, well, I kind of couldn't get quite the last step working there, but we looked at the process of how to grab native stuff. So I hope that you guys learned something and you got a good feel for what Flutter is like and what's involved with it, and what the build process is like, what the language is like, what it's like to lay out the visuals, what it's like to make callbacks, to store and update the state, which I didn't like. I didn't like the way that it composed and managed state. I didn't like that design. It didn't feel intuitive, and maybe after using it for long enough I'll start to see the benefits of that, but I just didn't like it at first. So that's all for now. I'm gonna go ahead and do my plugs. If you're not already on the Discord server, go to devdungeon.com, and on the right side click on join me on Discord, and you'll come join, hang out, chat, talk about programming. You can, right below that, find a link to my book, Security with Go, at github.com/devdungeon. You can find code for a lot of the stuff we do. And on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you can get notified about the daily live streams. And with that said, I hope you all have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.